Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great most honorable. Shalom to the brothers in what Syrian truth. I here once again, essentially to prophesy the downfall of this kingdom, man. To prophesy the end of this system that we're within, and we're seeing it happen, man. You know, this week, it's been a hot week, because more or less, it's basically been military tensions, war tensions, building back and forth, and it's mainly all focused around the Middle East. We had, like, over the course of like the last few weeks, essentially have the started in Palestine, the Palestine conflict, now bleeding out in and around the rest of the Middle East. You had the Houthis nabbing up certain ships. You know, they're doing acts of piracy and whatnot. And then there's been missiles, you know, lobbed left, right, and center. And it's essentially an escalation. It's everyone in and around that sphere being drawn in, which, you know, you got into prophecy here. It speaks about plainly, man. These things are all building up to that third world, man. That third world war, which we can see manifesting. And it's something that everyone's been wary of. The last time everyone started talking about World War III was when the Iranian, what's his name, Soleimani, when the Iranian general got hit with strikes. And now we have you know, missiles getting shot on Iraq and Syria, and more or less all the interest in Syria is because of they're allied to Iran. They know that Iran's maneuvering within there, and there's various nations in there, essentially, you know, about their interests. So these things are now we're seeing it's all materializing. The other thing you had as well is you had the first Neuralink patient, let's say, receive it, and that's been something that people have been talking about as become a focal point, which is one of the other hot prophecies, the MOTB, which, hey, it's something that now is here, it's been here. It's funny because Neuralink is one of the more recent companies to actually get to actually put it in people. But there's been, I believe, like three other companies that have already been utilizing that technology, been putting, you know, implanting within people. So it's essentially now is the time where we're seeing prophecy popping off, and it's getting hot. It's not really on a level where it's kind of like it's tame. It's just you're seeing a little thing. It's multiple things kind of stacking together, especially when you deal with conflict, the military conflict. Revelation 11 and 14 says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quick. And yeah, the second woe, the second destruction, which is what woe means, is the Second World War. That ended back in 1945, and essentially the split you had in the world, geopolitically, was you had Russia and the US basically become two different fronts of power. During World War II, you had Axis and Allies, and then post-World War II as well, it was the Soviets, and then the American sphere of influence. Those two things were contended, and it was all around nuclear capabilities. Because how did World War II end? With a bomb being dropped. And that's what, you know, Oppenheimer, they did the movie going into it. That whole development, that's essentially how Esau viewed military might, like it's ascended to godhood, essentially. You know, you can wipe a place off the face of the earth. But then what? It said the third world cometh quickly. Because why? That conflict between Russia and the US, well, what was used to be the Soviets, the USSR, and the US, that's the conflict. That's the one that's going to heat up. That's essentially going to be boil over as that Third World War. But what's going to be the key focal point is going to be the war in the Middle East, which is what we're seeing. We're seeing various different nations getting drawn in. Originally, it was just the Palestinians and the state of Israel. But what have you had? You've had Yemen involved, Lebanon, all various different nations around having interest. Turkey's been a big one. You even had the incident in Turkey where I think what do you call it? Guys took hostages as a form of protest against a conflict in Palestine. Turkey's heavily involved, man. What's his name? Erdogan's made various statements around it, so you can easily see how people get involved. Turkey's already been involved in Syria. So these things that we've seen, it's come swiftly. But really what we've had is just a long tail for now on conflicts that started a long time ago. Isaiah 9:5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yeah, every garment of the every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. So you have that form of warfare, you know, where men are getting it stuck in, man, with swords, with bows and arrows, chariots, trebuchets. The big arrow thingy called. Can't even remember the name of it. But there's various different forms of machinery and weaponry that's used in war. But when you deal with nuclear annihilation, you're dealing with a different scope and scale. That's where you're just gonna have like hundreds of thousands to millions of people just wiped off the face of the earth. You know, the drop of one missile. So that's going to be on a completely different scale. And even like the people involved. When you deal with World War I, part of what made it so, you know, why it was referred to as the Great War before World War II was because of the scale, man. The scale of destruction that was done with what military technology, man. The weaponry had basically been pushed even to a higher level, so that people were able to do even greater levels of destruction. They even have what airplanes as well, as it goes into Revelation 9, it goes into various developments where people all kinds of jacked up, man. Those what's the term? Shell shock. People getting shell shocked, man. Because why? It was trench warfare. People be out there slinging artillery for hours of the day, man. There's people, it's like they'll get back from war, any bang would set them off, man. They'll completely psychologically destroy it. Because it was what? A level of scale of warfare that hadn't been seen, man. And it went on for so long. But what you're going to have is, just as World War II outdid World War I, World War III is going to outdo both of them, man, combined. Because the level of technology you have now is where it's a complete madness, man. You got microwave guns, AI drones and whatnot. You had the UK talking about how they wanted to have AI-powered drones protecting nuclear sites. Essentially, all these different innovations in technology, they're all being put towards warfare. So the scope and scale of warfare you're going to have is going to be on a different level. And that's what most people, they've not got in their minds, man. They don't understand. Malachi 4:1, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. Yeah, the day comes that burns as an oven, man. Because we're going to be seeing all those different weapons utilized, man. You got the I think the UK is doing a nuclear missile test for the first time in I think it was 15 years. I believe it was Trident 2 missiles. They're doing a test for the first time in years. You've had for like the last few months multiple times like North Korea doing missile tests, and as well the whole conflict within the Ukraine since it began, people have been on edge because they're like, yo, is Russia going to use nuclear missiles? Like, what's going on? Now it's all the focus is basically being put back on them because why? It's written up in prophecy and it's something we see. These different conflicts are a big part of why so many of these different nations are focused on Iran. It's because why they're enriched with uranium. They essentially have access to nuclear weapons, and that's been something since well, even when the Soviets had it, but then especially after the fall of the Soviet Union, a lot of that weaponry, a lot of that technology was basically sold out to the so-called Third World. The movie, what's it called? Lord of War, about Victor Orlov, I believe his name is. That guy that was one of the first hostages exchanged. And he's back in Russia. This guy was essentially selling after the end of the fall of the Soviet Union. There were people selling off all that military gear to various people around the world, man. That guy was doing an immaculate job selling all those goods, man. That's why it's called the Lord of War. So various nations basically got that mechanized, different forms of technology, helicopters, tanks, all these different things, and it's the spirit. Because various of these nations, these so-called third world nations, are going to be allied with Russia and dealing with Russia to basically create a force that's going to come against the West, man. And then even Western nations are going to flip on America as well. It says, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, thou shalt leave them neither root nor branch. Yeah, it's essentially they're going to be used, man. They're going to be utilized. That military, all these different nukes have been developed. There was an attempt to what's it called? The START. I think it was called the START program, where they were trying to have both the US and Russia basically decommission as many missiles as they could. But that went down the drain a little while after Obama left office. Like when Trump came in, a lot of those programs went in the bin. It was the same thing with Iran, where they were meant to be limiting how much uranium they made. They had what are they called? UN guys in there basically to measure how much they were enriching. They kicked them all out once the deal fell through, once Trump got in, and them had been enriched uranium out the wazoo, man. So they completely got access to nuclear capabilities, which is a big part of the tension in the Middle East, man. The state of Israel basically wants to be the only ones with that access, and that's part of why they've been so aggressive in and around it. But that's all links up with prophecy, man. As I said, the least of the flock will draw them out. Isaiah 54 and 16 says what? Behold, I have created the smith, the blow of the coals in the fire, and the bringer forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy it. Yeah, there's that waster, that nuclear missile, that nuclear warhead, I should say. That's in created with a purpose in mind. It's got a role, a job to do, man. Which is what? Destruction. When you go into prophecy, it's America that's going to be hit. America's going to be the focal point. That's going to be the main point touched by these missiles, man. And that's whole conflict we're seeing building now. Is all building towards it, man. It's building towards America getting touched, man. All these different technologies that were developed, they'll develop for the purpose of what you call it, prophecy. Because these things have been spoken of from before. It's not something brand new that just sprang up. People deal with the scriptures like it's something that all the spoken of within the scriptures was only applicable like 2,000 years ago. You come into the modern day, then it'll just be like, oh, you know, it's just examples, it's just, you know, you can take and apply some of that to your life. But no, there's things that right now are speaking of events taking place now. Because like I said, the two main ones, that Neuralink that you've had be the hot topic throughout the course of the week. And then as well, World War III, that third world, that's been another topic. These two things is now culminating to where it's you know, it's been people saying like, oh, how could World War III kick off? What's going to be the long-term impacts of these conflicts? How likely is it for the the US to get involved in this conflict? And you've had like what's it called? Iraq get hit. It's an 85 attacks. You had what? 3 US soldiers get hit before. 3 US soldiers died. And as soon as US blood touched the soil, then they're going to get involved, man. And it always starts with missile strikes. They might even do like a no-fly zone. That's something that happened as well various times, where they'll put a no-fly zone in effect. But then we'll see how how it shakes out. Because over the course of the last few weeks, it's been nothing but escalation. So it'll be very easy to keep track and see like, yo, they continue doing strikes, whether they, there'll be boots on the ground or whatnot, who knows? Because there was talk over the course of the week about trying to get another, what's it called? Not standstill. But essentially, that conflict, as it stands, it's not going to be, it's not just going to fade away. That's something that right now everyone's fully invested in. And you've got various different nations supplying on both sides. So it's only going to continue. Joel 3:9 says this: proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what a lot of these nations have been. They've been weak. The thing that's basically allowing them to say they're strong has a big part of that is nuclear missiles, man. Nuclear capabilities. You got nations where they'll essentially discounted for the longest, man. A lot of nations only got their independence in like the 50s, the 60s. There was hella nations where it's like during the time of World War II, they were controlled essentially by an empire, man. The only reason they were involved in these conflicts is because they were part of an empire, man. They had to be like, yo, go send your men to die over there. But now a lot of these nations, they've essentially still got a chip on their shoulder towards those nations. But then what? They're able to do what they want to do, man. And they've developed these technologies, and they're looking to get that revenge, man. It says, what? Assemble yourselves and come, ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither will thy mighty ones come down, O Lord Jehovah. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yeah, so essentially, they will be drawn into that low land when it's the valley of Jehoshaphat, the Most High's judgment. Essentially, they're there to be judged. That's the other aspect. With all these prophecies being fulfilled, what's all leaning towards, man? What's the objective? What's the goal? It's all leaning towards the kingdom of heaven, man. Yahweh's return and the end of this current system. That's essentially what we're seeing manifest now. And a big part of that is revenge, is judgment against these nations for how Israel, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, for how they've been treated in the hands of their enemies, man. And a big part of that is them being drawn, the heathen being drawn into a conflict, and a mass amount of death and destruction arising from them. Because even with Esau being on the planet Earth, a key role he's played has been in destruction, man, taking peace from the earth, bringing in confusion, and a mass amount of death and destruction. But now it's, hey, the Lord's basically gonna take the reins over it, and then, you know, walk America into destroying itself. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Yeah? Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Essentially, now is the time that everything's been enriched for, which is what you're seeing, man. Like I said, with the Neuralink going out, these different forms of technology being developed is for the sake of prophecy. Now we're in a time where you go back 20, 25 years, you didn't have smartphones as they are now, you didn't have even wireless technology. It was nowhere near where it was now. Internet speeds, various different things that now make these technologies viable. And then it's a mindset shift as well for the people. You go back to like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, there was a law towards the development of technology. You had a mass amount of, since really the Industrial Revolution, you had that immense rate of technology developing to where people were thinking like, yo, by what, 1999, you're going to be off colonizing space, you're going to be on Jupiter, you're going to be chilling on you know, the moons around Saturn and whatnot. People were thinking like, yo, Esau's gonna have everything in his hand, man. They were looking at Star Trek, like that's something that can happen real soon. By the year 2030, you're gonna be, you're gonna be in the USS Enterprise. But hey, what's happened? In reality, it's even with so-called going to the moon. Like when India did their little what do you call it? Said they got someone on there. They were saying like, oh, why is it that they were able to get people to the moon in like 1969, but then since then no one's back in the 70s, no one's been back there. No one's been able to, they haven't been able to successfully do a mission. Which should get your brain thinking like, yeah, what the fuck? How did that shit happen? But then when we go into prophecy, what is it? Esau needs to set his nest among the stars, man. He'll get into the heaven. He'll be able to make like the International Space Station. He's that, set himself up amongst that. Hey, but that's it. Even the missile technology is for the sake of the nukes, man. When you deal with the ICBMs, they need to, for them to hit their target, they leave the atmosphere, fly around, and then make contact, man. And that's something spoken of in prophecy. The missiles, galloping, taking flight, and hitting their target. That's what it's all about. It's all about prophecy. These things have been developed for that sake. People are thinking about, Star Trek future, but that's not in prophecy. The one who's basically going to be going off, setting up on different planets, that's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. In my Father's house, there's many mansions. That's something that's been left essentially to us. Esau's role is what? Destruction. And that's what we're seeing. Hey, that's what we're seeing. Because even with these technologies, especially with Neuralink, everyone's thinking, oh, they're going to become like RoboCop. They're going to be moving like Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man. Like they're going to be on a superhuman level, man. They're going to be able to hack into their brain and then, have a supercomputer in there. That's what people are thinking. But it's a snare. It's a trap. And that's really, when you go into a lot of these cyberpunk stories, that's the snare. It's like, what was it? Altered Carbon. The whole twist of Altered Carbon was they were able to download their consciousness into a chip and whatnot, and then move bodies. But then, who was able to utilize that? It was the super elite. The super elite were basically able to get all the benefits, all the plus sides of it. Then for everyone else, they were just living like peasants, man. Barely getting by.
High spec sleeves. They call them sleeves, the bodies. They call sleeves. So they were high G.
The super augmented sleeves. And then being able to have like a network link and whatnot to be able to back up so they can never die and whatnot. They were living for like hundreds of years. That's what the elite would be able to do. And then what was it with the people on the bottom? They couldn't even choose their sleeve, man. They'll just have to get by with what they get by with. What's it say? So verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is there in the valley of decision. And yeah, that's judgment, man. Because like I said, Esau's a big part of his role is what? Taking peace from the earth. Like I said, it's all those so-called sci-fi futures. It's funny that they all have that dystopian tint. Because why? If Esau was able to establish himself and rule forever, it would be a super level of death and destruction for everyone else, man. Just like now you have it where the elite, like we always say, as far as if the super elite wanted to, if they desired to, they could end most, if not all, problems that currently exist within society, man. There'll be no one going hungry, everything will be affordable, everything will be sustainable. There's various means by which different forms of technology would have been sustainable. But the technology it's usually invested in is what's monetized. When you deal with Tesla versus Edison, that plainly lets you know. Tesla was dealing with just grabbing electricity out of the heavens, man, or out of the earth. But then when you deal with that, then you can't, you can't monetize it easily. Various of these technologies, the way they're developed, is so they can be monetized. Because that's what Esau's MO is all about, man. Control, power, and destruction. Says what? For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yeah, all the understanding that people have now, that's all going to come to naught. Even there's a lot of people that pride themselves within the various realms of Esau's so-called wisdom, man. Esau's set, like, you know, PhDs, doctorates, masters, and whatnot, various different forms of prestige that you can pursue. There's different, like the Olympics and whatnot, there's various different forms of so-called honors and glories that can be found that people, you know, do the utmost for. All those things are gonna basically going to cease to have any form of meaning. That's a thing that's really going to hit people in the mind. All these things that now, these things seem worthwhile, man. Celebrities are a big one. People are super drawn into the world and the realm of celebrities, man. They'll keep track of like people's love lives. They'll hang off someone's every word and whatnot. They'll wait and see what they post. They'll be completely invested and be like, oh, you know, they're going on tour. They'll go to every tour. They'll essentially deal with them like they're a friend, like they know them. Meanwhile, that, you know, they don't even know you exist. But that's a big portion of how people engage in the world now, man. Social media kind of draw it, you know, giving a kind of illusion, a fantasy world for people to be drawn into. But all these things are essentially going to cease to have meaning. Because especially when it comes to the MOTV, once that system comes in, you're gonna have to be dealing and interacting with that. And that's gonna bring everyone to the same level as well. Because as it says, rich and poor, free and bond. Those things that is essentially all these so-called ways people excel. And it might just be someone having like a 10,000, 50,000, 250,000 followers on some form of social media. They might think, you know, they've excelled in some way, but they're going to be brought down to the same level. Because why? As far as these things are all illusions of itself. And when you deal with the actual structure, actual order, those things, hey, you have to go to the scriptures for that. And those things right now, any form of where you excel in righteousness, that holds no value in the current world. Even just behavior-wise, behaving in an honorable or righteous way, that holds no value within this system. The people that are selling, they're selling doing wickedness. Verse 16, the Lord Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So that's all going to go back to Israel as well. Because that's who it's for, man. It's for the elect. Really, it's as far as Esau, he's got a role to play. As far as, you know, the role of the heathen, they're there to get all caught up in the mix. So I read this, 2 Peter 3, verse 3 says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? Since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. And even for now, who can really say that? The only means by which people try and say that now is by trying to not acknowledge what the MOTV is. Like I already went into. This week we had what? The Neuralink, man. That was something, as soon as it went out, I said, oh, the first patient's got it. Everyone was talking about it. It's a hot topic. It was a focus. Then you had, on top of that, World War III, rumblings non-stop, back and forth. You had missiles get shot, what was it, this morning?
Late last night in the morning as well. Late last night in the morning as well.
Yeah. Because 130 missiles got shot over what, Syria and Iraq. That's the rumblings of World War III. That's why three US soldiers got gone. And that's enough for the US to get fully involved, to get stuck in.
Mind you, there were Jakes as well.
Anyway, check.
Yeah, there was 3 Jakes. I think 2 black women or one was a woman, you know for sure. But the fact that it's Jake, it shows something that the Heavenly Father will start with the 10th of Judah first. You know? That judgment is incumbent of the world, the whole world. But primarily with you Jakes, man. Because you shouldn't be over there fighting no war.
Jakes are stuck in Esau's system, man. Mm-hmm. Especially the military. Them US Jakes, they will get all caught up in the military. That's why even what's the movie? Boys in the Hood. They had the whole aspect of I can't even remember his name, man. American football player when he got shot.
Ricky!
Oh, yeah. Was watching the adverts, looking at like, yeah, maybe I'll join the military. They're all engrossed, and you can watch. There's like to this day, you can see like even over here as well. It's the same thing. Them guys have legendary forms of marketing. Them guys have a bottomless budget for marketing. I remember in college you'd see these guys have like a permanent setup in college where they'll be like trying to go, oh, come here, join the military, you can do this. We'll pay for your degree. We'll train you in these various aspects. You only have to do 2 years, blah blah blah. Because why? And then what's coming out is over in the US, I know over here as well, they've not been. So that's why the whole talk of conscription came up, and then they're trying to dead it. But essentially, what's the reality? As soon as it pops off, the first wave of people start dying. Of course, they're going to conscript, but they're going to make it seem in a way. Because even with the whole conscription thing, like it's the same thing when Ukraine, not even Ukraine. I was going to say with the pandemic, when they first were talking about, C19, people, like a lot of people were kind of, scoffing at it, kind of like, whatever. I remember one girl vividly that I worked with from Eastern Europe, and when she heard like people getting scared of it, like that was stop working, she's like, guys, are you serious? Are you serious? She couldn't believe it. She don't live in this country. That says a lot about how the times have changed. She went from studying, being at uni in the UK, and thinking it's nothing to worry about, to being like, oh shit, I'm gonna leave the country and move back home. So it really shows that, look, someone can go from there like, man, I'll never do that. I don't want to go to this course. But all they go do is put in the new spin cycle, presenting in the form of propaganda. Get a narrative together. Because that's the same thing that happened with Ukraine. Everyone's caught up in the cult of personality of Zelensky. That's really all that's happened. As far as to what actually happened, they just like the whole push was like, oh, Zelensky's doing this, oh, Zelensky's doing that, oh, this person's talking to Zelensky, that person's Zelensky. all you're hearing about is Zelensky, and it's global personality. I'm like, even it came out. This guy was he's an actor, and he was doing all kinds of criminal activities beforehand. Meanwhile, that's what's about Ukraine. It's like Eastern Europe. Like them man don't even fuck with that shit. But that shows the spirit on the guy. Where he ain't even a warrior. But then they present this guy like he's the ultimate, most dominant leader to exist on the planet Earth. Everyone going there and meeting him. Why? Just to boost his profile. Because that's draws everyone in. That guy was to die. There'll be people over here like, yeah, I'll go to war for Ukraine. But there was people actually going over there to die for Ukraine already. So how much more so when it's they say, oh, Britain's being targeted, America's being targeted.
It's always do they need the right effect? Like it could be an attack. That event would just basically captivate the minds of the people. Basically, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to war. Yeah. I'm down, man. Nah, they're violent. They're touching, like they're gonna touch our women. It could be something like that acid attack. That's the acid. So even I saw that and I was thinking, what? We back in 2016.
That's what I said. I was like 2016 summer's back. What's going on?
Because summer 16, the Drake song. But basically, what people, because even man saying that, because that was an error. That's the I remember being on 2014 to 2015. Because I remember being on the bus, hearing like you man, like year 8, 12, 13, what if men chat, I'm dashing acid on. And I'm thinking, bro, this is what the young dudes are on there. I'm thinking, bro, like, and even like carnival, you don't want to go carnival, people are shook. It's like, remember hearing, if you see a man with a Lucas head, you know what time it is. I was gonna dash acid in the crowd. So that was an error. So even man doing this, no one does it no more. Why? Because the reason why they want to use the acid is because over here, obviously, the law is powerful. But it's illegal to have a gun. Doesn't mean you don't have one, you have a gun. But man are gonna be with you and think about how can I harm my husband, or how can I harm someone and get away with it. So acid was like a thing of like, there's no, if they stop me and I got acid, they can't lock me up. I can still defend myself. So I ain't gonna get back.
They pass laws where it's like you're walking with. Well, yeah, the law is where it's like the knife you're getting went from like slap on the wrist to having a whole book thrown in. Yeah. So then they had to find something else.
That's why they're doing it with the ZK right now, the zombie killers. They're trying to get them where they have a harsher sentence. But there was a video that came out. I know we're kind of detouring, but we'll get back to the point. There's a video that come out with one Jake. He's with his missus in a like chicken and chip shop. One of them takeaway stores. Just how you do. Just chilling, chatting to his girl, bantering, whatever. But you can see in the corner, coming up to the doorway, two other Jakes. And they like he luckily sees them as they're preying him, like working out who it is. So as he's seeing them, he's backed out. These guys with swords now. In my day, Rambo was a big, was mad. Like, if a man had a Rambo, like a 5-inch Rambo knife, that's a madman. Or you got a kitchen, a big kitchen. But more time, people would have a flicky, like something like, it's not 2 years, compact. It's like long enough, like 3. Because even meaning the law, you say 3 inches, under 3 inches, you can carry it. They stop, you can't. So a lot of men had signed command and range.
That'll be the time when it's like you could stop people stuff like Swiss Army knife, shit like that. Just have it.
And then a lot of men would have a flick. This is a sign for the guys that roll with straps. But anyway, they backed out their machetes and the guy that was in the shots with his pistol was more game, man. He was keen. He was like he was fencing, man. He said, come. And then he basically, sucked the confidence out of him. Say that again.
Was he using the chair?
Yeah.
So I
Using
think
the
he was
chair.
using the chair.
And the shit ain't like on the shield, like it was just on it. But basically, what the hell? Why am I saying that?
Some of those fucking knights with a sword and shield.
Yeah. Well, we're in the land, innit? The land of the angels. Right. But basically, what happened was, going back to the point, you know, there's errors with different weapons. Man ain't gonna have that. So when I see, that's why I was thinking, I hope it ain't. I hope it ain't. But I just think it can't be a Jake. You know, you look at it like, man, I'm bringing back acid. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. But if there's more things like that, with someone, you know, could play with. Yeah, I saw it, yeah. If they got tough. Yeah, you look like you've got his eyes on it, understand? But if it comes out there's a Yemeni guy that claims to be down with the Houthis or someone claiming, you know, one of these asylum seekers asylum, that's going to change the tide of the minds of the people.
That's like you said, one attack can do it. But let some, you know, dainty UK princess get touched or something like that, then it will flip the mindsets of people. That's really what, and that's the thing is that's why we can see all of this building easily. Because as far as it's like, the US has basically got, they've got something to galvanize around. The UK or other countries easily get an incident happen, and then they'll be like, damn. Everyone get up in arms and involved, and that's the thing is that it's so, you know, it's gonna go down, man. As far as for that conflict, it's not gonna tone down. It's only gonna intensify over the course of this. I remember when I was saying like, even with the Yemenis like snatching up boats, that happened a few years back, but then it kind of tapered down. But now this time it's been met with a reaction. So then there'll be an even bigger reaction on the other side as well. It'll be back and forth. Because I read it again. 2 Peter 3 and 4, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. And that's not really something that can be said at this point. For someone to say that, to be, you know, had their eyes closed and be looking into the ground, man, to not see what's going on. Like I said, it's Neuralinks. That was meant to happen last year. The first patient to get it was meant to be last year, and now it's been pushed forward to this year. And then it's like I was even seeing people doing memes about it, and I was like, you know what? That's kind of how people get with these things. They'll just kind of be like, oh. Because it was the same thing with like World War III popping off. People were just making memes of it. But then when it becomes a reality, that's when you'll really see people's response. Because as far as with the Neuralink thing, people are going to be jumping on it, man. People are going to be like, oh yeah, you know, you get X, Y, and Z. They'll think, oh, you'll be able to control like your phone or your PC, your TV with your brain and blood. You know, people are going to be really, they're going to be drawn in, man. Because they're already within the system, man. And what? They're essentially, as far as what was said, deal with prophecy, they're not going to give it any heed. But that's going to be to their own demise, man. And on top of that as well, it's going to be what the time of Jacob's trouble. It's not just going to be like you're lounging, eating McD's with your feet up, with the heating on. You know, there's gonna be pressure being applied. Right now, it's a time where it's a lot of people they're at relative peace, especially comparative to what's going to come down the pipeline. They're supreme ease compared to that. But it's going to be the midst of that, the stress. That's when you're going to have the decision needs to be made. How you doing, Giza?
Yeah, I'm not too bad now, yeah.
What caught your eye?
Pardon?
What caught your eye? I'll read on. You got something. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. And yeah, that's essentially, they're discounting prior destruction has come, man. The flood. They think that like, yo, they're looking at like, you know, these things, even within this system, they're thinking like, oh, how, you know, how's America gonna go down? How's Britain gonna go down? That's funny because it's like post-Brexit. I remember at the time when the Brexit vote was being done, people were talking like, oh yeah, you know, what we need to do, like as soon as the Brexit vote goes through, then Britain's gonna go back to being like it was during the Empire. But these guys, they don't even know, man. As far as for a lot of these countries, they've basically been in decline. That's why they all came together for the EEC, then the EU. And that's also prophecy as well, for them to come together, man. And that was what was really underneath the spirit of America after World War II. These things, it's all been spoken of, and it's being fulfilled. But it's even within Esau's realm. Esau acknowledges like that those prior kingdoms have come. This guy will glorify the Romans. This guy, a huge part of what you know what he does. He's going over, excavating different sites around the world, digging up their history, finding out what happened, man. This guy will be able to tell you in intricate detail how the decline of the Roman Empire took place, and various other empires. You know, go into the history, we'll go into the different leaders, different political situations and whatnot, and how they declined. And that's something that factors into today. Because just like all the kingdoms that came before, they're no longer on the face of the earth. That's a lesson there. That's something to look at and be like, oh, there's something to think about. So how about for now? And if people think there's not an empire on the face of the earth now, they don't know what's going on. It's been the American Empire. At the end of World War II, that's why they glorify that D-Day. That's essentially when the US came and got, it essentially lifted itself above all the other nations. Because you had prior empires. It's like you had the British Empire running for a minute. You watch, what's it called? The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That would cover that kind of era. There was, you know, being British, there was that pomp and pride to it. There was all these, what was it, the empire on which the sun doesn't set. Because in each of the different parts of the earth, in each of the different segments of the time zones, there was a country they had rule over. That's why if you're British, if you're of a certain status, you could be moving around. You could have a spot in India, spot in South Africa, spot in various different places around the world where you'd be able to move. You might have a factory, you know, some form of production on the islands. There's some shit established in various different places on the earth. But then that all came to an end. After World War II, the empire was done. Now it's just been a commonwealth. But then what? America's was raised up. They were able to go around the world and establish themselves, man. Make various nations tributaries, destroy hella nations as well. But then what? Just as they rose, then they fall. And that's something we've been seeing for the longest, really from the 70s. There's been a steady decline in all aspects of so-called American society, man. And that's something that people should bear in mind. But then what? Just as with Rome, just as with Babylon, just as with Persia, just as with even with Jake. Jake had the prophets coming saying like, yo, you guys are going into slavery, man. They didn't want to hear that for shit. Just like anyone that's ruling. They don't want to hear they're going to go down. But Hey, it's that time, man. That's what we're seeing. So verse 7, verse 7, but the heavens and the earth which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Yeah. So just as you had the prior system world come to an end by war, you had the flood. And then, again, examples you can look to, all these different rulerships. You go to the statue in Daniel chapter 2. You had the various different metals, the various different phases, different rulerships. Then even then, when you get to the feet and 10 toes, the whole statue gets caught and smashed after. It's not that the statue is established forever. It's established for a season. And then once its time's done, it's done. It's a wrap. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing. The one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. So yeah, one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So for us, you might be thinking like, yo, it's been however long. And that's essentially what the scoffers are saying. They're like, yo, how's the thing not come to pass? They might be, they're thinking like a 10 years, a 20 years, even a 50 years is a long time. But then 1,000 years is as one day. So that means that it's even 1,000 years, it's not that long. And that's why the time scales is completely off how people are thinking. Esau's thinking like, yo, as far as for now, in the modern day, Esau's managed to do a chameleon job to where if you try and bring up his prior crimes, then they'll be like, oh, but you know, that wasn't me, that wasn't us. You know, we've done these things to change and whatnot. But then when you deal with those crimes, it's like by the scale of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, they're on the same day, man. It was only a few hours ago Esau was doing his foolishness. So for him to receive judgment for that, that's going to be white hot, man. That's going to be fresh. He says what? The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. For the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away. Yeah, that's why the day is going to come as a thief. Because these signs are here. Everything's basically being, it's being highlighted, it's being shown. Yo, something's getting ready to go down. There's a feeling, there's a tension in the air that, you know, there might be something to this. Even when you deal with just the way the discussion around the Israel-Palestine conflict began, this time compared to like the prior conflicts, it was on a different scale. I remember as soon as it happened, I was like, damn, people are super emotionally invested. People are super aware. They're seeing it was, bro, social media was flooded with nothing but that conflict for the longest. And imagine it was like Ukraine, that happened in Ukraine prior, but it wasn't on the same scale. But then when you go to Israel Palestine, everyone was getting stuck in, everyone had an opinion, everyone had something to say. And what's happened since? It's only intensified. You've seen like, hey, people are getting even more emotional about it. And now we're seeing governments getting stuck in as well. So it's like, as far as for this whole thing, anyone kind of, you know, with their eyes open and their ears able to hear, they're thinking, they'll look at it like, damn, what's going on? But most people, they don't want to acknowledge that there could be an end to what they're currently doing, man. They want to have that illusion, man. They want to have those lies, man. Those sweet little lies. Because that's essentially most of their life anyway. A big part of the American mindset is aspiration. It's thinking, oh, I can, I can get a slice of the American pie. People in the working class are thinking about becoming middle class. People in the middle class are thinking about becoming upper class.
But it's in regards to what it is. It's like
More of a prosperity look. Everything's gonna be alright.
Yeah, just work your way up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, work your way, but more so, everything's gonna be alright.
You know what I'm saying? If you work your way up.
Oh, okay, if you work,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's essentially that's the mindset people have. They're kind of just like, well, they're thinking about their next maneuver or their next step. But then they, yeah, like you said, it's like working your way up. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that.
Well, we in the truth, we have an aspirational mindset as well that we're going to grow in the spirit.
But the problem is, prosperity is not, that's not a given. This world is created for doom, death, and destruction.
I tell you that by going to various examples, alright? Reading scripture. It's the book of Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is it? Right, so the earth has been given into great deceiver.
As it tells you in the book of Revelation, right, you had it where that old serpent was basically locked up for 1,000 years, being this devil, the so-called white, alright, the deceiver. But he said it'd be loose for a little season. So you get loose for now, and that's why the prosperity doctrine is a deception. A lot of people, they're being deceived by the old vain opinion that things as are will continue and will get better. I mean, again, to have that mentality within this kingdom is a total no-no. That's only how they're gonna hook, line, and get you in the trick bag. Essentially, by you believing that the best is to come, right? So when they say, "Oh yeah, take this season and everything will be alright," you think the best is yet to come to cure my illnesses and all that type of stuff. But you don't know that you're being deceived, right? Into believing that everything is gonna be good, everything's gonna be fine. They're there to pat on the back and come my son, walk into heaven. And really they're walking you into death. It's been like, I'm sure there's 2 movies I've seen that used, I think a more recent movie, What Happens on Monday. They use the same kind of thing as Soylent Green, where the people say, they're going to be put to sleep, and then they incinerate them and then just destroy them, and just, pass them out into the abyss. That's the same thing that's basically going to happen. They're going to show you some nice, LED lights in 4, 8K. It's going to look beautiful. They're going to present it before your eyes. And you're like, wow, this is utopia. I can buy into this. And next thing you know, some blue flames just, burning you the fuck up. And that's it. They set you up.
Matthew 6 and 24. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. And yeah, that's what the part of the whole aspiration is, just towards money, man. That's a big part of the draw. It's essentially like money will solve all your problems. That's why drug dealers, crime kingpins and whatnot, they're even presented as they're icons within society. People know the names of like super successful drug dealers, they'll do whole documentaries and movies, glamorizing their lifestyle. Even fraudsters as well, complete criminals. Because why? Because they get the money, they get the success, they get a slice of that lifestyle everyone wants a piece of. But then, in reality, what's what's really been achieved, what's really been gained. Not much, man. It's even like people say, well, you know, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it solves most of them. There's people that really think it's like, yo, they get money, that's it, or even fame and success. They'll be able to like sort themselves out. But then, hey, the actual problem is a lot of these people are just messed up, man. They got demons on them, and they're fucked up in the spirit. Which is why it's like, even if they get the money, they're still going to be jacked up. You got something? So 2 Peter 3:10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also, the works that therein, shall be burned up. Yeah, so it's going to come as a thief. Because why? They're going to have their eyes on other things, man. The thing is there's various kinds of lessons to be seen. Even a good example, two good examples in recent memory would just be the 2008 financial crash and then the whole situation around C-19. That's up, both of those situations are enough to be like, damn, you know, keep staying alert, having an ear to the ground, you know, keeping an eye on things ahead of time. That could be something that works in your favor. But then what? By and large, people have no, you know, they don't want to do those things. They want, you know, they want to lay back easy. But hey, the reality is, and it's funny as well. You go back to like, even as far as like the 20s and 30s, people are more independent minded. They'll be more clued in. They pay more attention to things. They'll basically do more to kind of educate themselves and keep track of certain things. But it's like even with that so-called technology that's meant to liberate and lift people up, make people even worse. That's a funny thing. It's like, imagine like there's people who don't ask questions and then they'll have a smartphone in their pocket where they can just Google the answer and they don't even do that. So as far as for most people, their mindset-wise, they don't even get even if the opportunity was there, they wouldn't be able to take it.
Malachi 4:1, behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and a proud, yea, all them that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch.
So everything that's been uprooted in this world, it's like everything in this world will be uprooted, right? And these things that have been established that, you know, seemingly, you know, present itself as being forever, they're not going to be. They're you know, the fashion of this world passes away. A lot of things are going on right now. If you peer behind the curtains, you'd understand how, you know, finite it is. How it moves on, you know, the thread of, it's hanging by the thread, basically. This society is, that's why you see what's going on with the potential civil war in America, right? Dealing with the whole thing with the razor wire. There's a bit more things they're saying that they've got like traps in the waters of the crossing that people could step into and they could be maimed and all that type of stuff. But there's a lot of shit where potentially it could be a long day down there in the borders of Texas, right? Where you've had Oklahoma, so I ain't checked the news in like a day in terms of that news in a day or two, I believe. But for what, a day, I think. But since why I know Oklahoma sent their National Guard down there, but they want the federal government trying to make them do the thing. You know, they agreed. There's 25 people in Oklahoma who sent their National Guard down there.
Oh yeah, I'm saying I think it was more than one state who sent
But basically, that's you know, basically conjuring up to be a big debacle. Because what they're saying, they're saying immigrants, migrants coming in is one thing, and they shouldn't be allowing them to come in. But the means is, as far as why, the razor wire and these things of that nature, they're saying it goes against federal and international law. So, there's things where it's like, there's a problem, but only because Biden has put a strain on the situation, they ain't hearing it, right? And all it takes is a sign as small as this and reason being thrown out of the window for it to snowball into something bigger than where it is, right? And we know this destruction, as it tells you in Revelation 7, right? You have the four angels of the winds holding back the destruction, all right? So that means that the destruction's here, but they're holding it back. You just imagine the only way to really vision it is if someone's at the door of something that's about to fall through. All right, it's gonna happen no matter what. But as far as when it's gonna be allowed to happen, that's down to the Heavenly Father giving the go ahead. But the point being, this destruction is imminent. All right, and you can see the main thing that's gonna allow it to flow is out of the MOTB. All right, the seeking, and with the Neuralink moving from dealing with monkeys onto being picking up human beings, right? Mind you, with all the information that's known of the fact that it was, there was real issues with it being in monkeys, all right? That tells you everything. That they're kind of steamrolling ahead regardless of what the situation is. They have a deadline, right? The 2030 agenda, and there's a lot of things they're putting in place as we speak, right? So this is really literally the speed could be started with 2021 winter. Yeah.
But it's first for the monkey.
No, before the monkey. When they said
But it's 2018 when it was first established.
yeah, but when they started saying about this, it's going to be the live experiment.
Oh, okay, yeah. 2021 was
something like that. But that ain't easy. It's like, my point is, they've gone from the month, like you can see the trajectory, right? From 2021, it's actively the making steps. So, again, the point of all it takes is one event, and then the shit just gets accelerated to the big thing. Because remember, they said as well with the cashless society, they said they made during the course of the pandemic, they made, I believe they said, in 2 years, they made a full 25-year advance. Some everything like that. Science freedom, where they made a big leap in terms of development, right? So that's the same thing going on right now.
So, Revelation 18, from verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich for the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her, double. Yeah. So, chief, the main reason everyone's drawn to that American system, American mindset, is why the lifestyle. Being able to enjoy all the dainties, all the goods, like how essentially how the so-called first world has been built. It's grabbing all the resources from the rest of the world and focusing it in one place. So fruit resources. Yeah. With what do you call it? The American system, which is on a different form of scale, man. The same with Britain, where it's like when you deal with Britain, the island, it's tiny. But then what? Through going out, basically drawing in all these different areas, strength was able to dominate over the whole globe, man.
And really the strength was in the powers in deception. Because a lot of people were, inviting them into their homes and through deception, they basically got one up on them. So they didn't see them coming. It wasn't a matter of like, we come in to take everything you have. It was like a cancer that slowly grows and infects you. And then before you know it, you're ill. And you're on the back foot fighting.
Yeah.
By the time they could actually just fight you full on front, like where they're coming, they've already established themselves in power to the point where that's not even it's not even a thing. You can't even
Attacking Paris. So it might be what he said, but then we'll see where it gets pushed. What did it say? How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Yes, same with all the prior kingdoms. They all at their height were thinking like, yo, there's no way I'm gonna be tough. Why? It's in the midst of massive amount of abundance. Everything's going good. Everything's running smooth. But then really what's it been? It's been a slow and steady decline. And that's the thing, it's like, a good example is the movie Gladiator. Because Gladiator, one of like the core kind of components was the decline of Rome. And then what was it? I think the father. What was the father called in Gladiator? I think it was. I'm thinking Marcus Aurelius, but I can't actually remember if it was him 100%. Okay, so Marcus Aurelius, his whole thing was like, oh, he wanted to end. He wanted to end the. I'll check after. He wanted to end the what was it called? The empire and return to being a republic. They thought Rome could regain its glory by going back to being a republic. And then towards the end, when he dies, he was basically like, he was thinking like, yo, what's his name, sister?
I took some long ass way and I didn't realize.
Was thinking that they could recapture the glory of Rome by going back to being a republic. It was like Rome was done, man. The spirit in Rome was toast. It had its time where it peaked and then it waned, and it was done. The same with the British Empire. The whole Brexit, if people were thinking like, oh, we're gonna go back to the glory days, that's Right.
This is what the global was. It was you going by a navy and really fucking up like countries that had great resources. But that's done. That's done now. They should have done that first and then moved away from Europe. Said, you know, fuck this shit, man. Fuck with Europe. We're going back on to the time of imperialism. And plunder these other nations, suck their resources. And then any other nation that's in front of us, they're gonna have to bow down. America was in the picture there. You're just in position with other European nations.
Yeah. And then it's like, what Portugal and Spain, they had fronts, those various different nations where they gain that great influence. They're not able to do their thing. But then what? It's you have your time to shine, man. Then after it's done, it's done. You can't just go back to like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get back. Or you can think that, you can attempt it, but that doesn't mean it's gonna come to pass. Because it's the Most High, what is set up with one and brings down another, man. Whoever's basically been raised up to rule, that's something whoever's set up to rule, that's something Yahweh Hashem Yahushua establishes. And then same for the Christ. That was fun. Yeah, essentially, the Lord sets up who's gonna have the rule, and when that's gonna come to an end, and that's something that no one's been able to avert. What does it say? Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Most High power who judgeth her. The kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing far off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And yeah, they're going to lament. They're going to lament the end. Why? By being arm in arm with that kingdom, they've been able to have a certain lifestyle, man. They've been able to conduct themselves a certain way. They're all drawn in, man. They're thinking about iPhones and Xboxes and what's an American car? Cadillac.
Well, you got the big ones right now. The ones with the thingy, the Hellcat system. You don't know about the Hellcat? I think it's.
General Motors?
Probably General Motors.
I can't even think of the name of their brand. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking of cars.
I just know about
all
Hellcats.
European and Asian cars come to mind. I can't think of the fucking
Hellcat is like Hellcat, like the Charger. Dodge
Okay,
Charger.
yeah.
But it's like an AMG. It's like yeah, but
American
the
car.
thing of the Hellcat. The Hellcat is like the equivalent of the AMG of what's the Audi. You know, like this, like like that's what the Hellcat is like, kicked out and shit. Like all the police have they use like the Hellcat. I believe I'm talking like passive, understandable.
And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Yeah, and that's all of what you call it, the greatest portion, consumption in the world is done by America. There's myriad products that are produced purely to be sold in America, man. All kinds of goodies. They're just made to go over to America. And it's funny, like whole industries. That's why production is a whole industry. It used to be done in America, but then what they got overseas because it was cheaper. Then everyone, hey, they all linked together, man. In that so-called global economy, where they're all able to do, make cash money, do well. And it's funny because like post World War II, you had like Japan was one of the main ones. And that's why you have the Japanese respect in so much of cyberpunk. Because during that time was when Japan was on a high. Post World War II, they did like most of the production for various things. Then they'll just take like American designs and do their own version. And then people, hey, they'll make it mad money. And everyone was talking like Japan was going to overtake them. But then their economy crashed. Then you had like the rise up of China, Taiwan, various different nations. And they're all production, being able to make things. It's even with like transistors and whatnot. That's like the development of them, the production of them. That's why Taiwan's such a hotspot. These, being able to produce those, that's essentially a linchpin for all different forms of technology they're used all around the world. So they're able to make insane amounts of money. Everyone's got interest. They keep them tied to Babylon, man. And then that means as well, when it goes down, they sink as well. That's where they're gonna be, have tears in their eyes. But like granted, this is something that can't be averted. The only kingdom that's gonna last forever is what? The kingdom of heaven. And this ain't it. Now if it's meant to be the kingdom of heaven, place is investment.
Look, if it's meant to be the kingdom of heaven, there'll be peace. Right? Because so-called Jews are meant to be God's chosen people, right? So they technically have power over the earth right now. So we're meant to be in the kingdom of heaven. When you go into the book of Ezekiel, it basically outlines all the things that was happening during the time of that reign. You have King David ruling over the people, right? You have peace. All of these being in plowshares into swords, they'll be being in swords into plowshares, right? And there'll be great peace upon the earth. But that's not the case. So that lets you know that there's a big deception going through the means of what? Christianity. Right? It's a lot, man. I was meant to be out, I tried to get out earlier. Crazy you weren't running, man. That's it for the week, man. Well, we'll be out next week, so say all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Hashem,
Double of the apostles and elders, great wisdom of the world.
Shalom to the whole